Welcome to another episode of Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. If you are a parent, a grandparent, if you mentor kids in your life, maybe younger siblings or nieces or nephews, this episode is for you and you will not want to miss it. I'm Dr. Sherry Flewellen. I am a member of Seven Figure Flipping membership, and it has been transformational for my husband and I. And literally one of the reasons why we joined that community as real estate investors and as flippers is because they have this other community that's kind of an offshoot of it, or maybe rather thinking it's kind of like a child community from the parent community. See how I'm doing that? That analogy there of seven figure flipping. The reason we joined is because they have Seven Figure Flipping has created another community that's specific for kids. And my husband and I, we have 4 teenagers. We have been real estate investing for almost 18 years. My kids have been drugged to rental properties, to flip properties. They've done some trash outs. They have found treasures during the trash outs. And then they go and think, and I've kind of taught them, look at what could we resell on Facebook Marketplace that we're finding in this flip. They've done they've cut branches at properties. They've done all of these things. And as they've gotten older, they're all teenagers now. Youngest is 14, oldest is 17. I have really started to see how they have a little bit of interest in what we're doing. But because I have been so busy doing the work and not necessarily teaching them, there's this huge gap in their life and in their mind about what we do and what that actually means and all the hard work that goes into it. They see the benefits of it, but they don't know all the hard work. And when I found Teen Tycoons as part of, or Teenage Tycoons as part of Seven Figure Flipping, that was what sealed the deal on my husband and I becoming members, because we knew from our perspectives, from our values, that our kids having an opportunity to learn from other people on how to do real estate investing, on how to be entrepreneurs just in general, because maybe they don't all want to do real estate investing, and that's totally okay. But there's principles to being an entrepreneur, to taking risks, to evaluating things that the average person in our world does not understand. And if you're listening to this podcast, you know what I'm saying. You have people in your community, you have neighbors, you have family members that don't understand you as an entrepreneur, as a real estate investor. They don't get you. They think you're crazy. They think you are off your rocker for the types of things that you do and the amount of risk that you take. But we also know the benefits of it. And I know that I want my kids to understand the benefits of it. Even if they choose not to go down that path, they at least know. And today's episode is all about opening up the curtains to Teenage Tycoons, which is a really amazing community designed specifically for kids, teenagers, preteens, to really learn all of the things that are necessary to enter the world of entrepreneurship and to do it successfully, so they're not making as many of those crazy mistakes that we have made. And we have 2 guests today that are going to be able to share some really cool stories with you about the impact of Teenage Tycoons. The first person that we're going to talk to is Caitlin Phillips, and she is the coordinator of this whole thing. So all of the kids, all of the crazy chaos that happens, she is like the chaos coordinator, and she does an amazing job with that. And we get to talk with Trinity Anderson, and she started as a teenager in the Teenager Tycoons, and she is now actually helping run and do some behind the scenes things and just make sure that the kids that are involved in it are actually getting a ton of stuff out of it. So this is what our topic, this is what we're going to talk to you about today. And I couldn't be more excited and more passionate about this, because my 4 kids, I've already seen a transformation in each one of them from being involved in this. So Caitlin, let's start with you. Thank you so much for what you're doing with Teenage Tycoons. It is really, truly, I think, a life changer for kids. So share, how did you even get involved in this?
Oh, that is a really great question. Back in 2021, I had been flipping houses and I'd heard about this community, 7-figure flipping, and I wanted to join. So I joined in the runway group in 2021. So I went a year in the runway group. I did a year in the altitude group. And then early in 2023, I accepted a position to work as the instructional coordinator for 7-figure flipping. So I came on at that time and kind of redid all of the educational material that we have as our community and that we offer to our community members. And then in late 2023, Bill approached me, and we had that summer in 2023 run a 2-day kids wealth workshop in Tennessee, and it went really well. It was really impactful for the families that came. And out of that, one of our members, Marisol Mendez, started a book club and invited the kids that had come to the kids wealth workshop to join in on that book club. And so they had kind of been doing this book club. And then Bill approached me and said, I really want to start a more formal mastermind for these teenagers that really helps them grow and build wealth, take control of their finances now and start building wealth now, instead of being like, when I'm an adult, I'll worry about that. And so he kind of brought it to me as this brainchild and said, I want to start in January of 2024. Like, will you run it? And so, of course, I was like, yes, I would love to do that. I'm still like, don't really understand all the details, but let's do it. I have a background. I was a former junior high and high school math and science teacher, a former coach. So I've grown up ever since I was a teenager working with teenagers and teaching them and helping them. And it's always been a passion of mine and something that I really enjoyed doing. And when I heard about how passionate Bill was about impacting the teenagers in our nation and helping them to have tools that I think all of us adults wish that we had earlier in life, I was like, what better thing can I be doing with my time than to help with this organization and get it off the ground and running. So January 2024, Teenage Tycoon was officially born, and we launched the community, had a really good turnout. A lot of people joined the community, including Trinity and her whole family. So that's kind of how I got started in it.
Thank you, Caitlin, so much for your involvement in this. I see such potential. And when I say potential, like, there's already been so much impact already in the teenagers and the families involved. And I see so much more potential for that to just explode and be more. And I'm so excited to see that. Trinity, Caitlin just called you out as one of those who were in the beginning. I would love to hear your story about how did you get involved in Teenage Tycoons?
Yeah, so it wasn't actually my choice. My mom told me one day that she just signed me up for this class, and I was actually really upset. She said it's like you have to attend 2 Zoom meetings a week, and you have to read 1 book every month that you don't even get to choose. And so I was beyond mad with her. I was actually there for the first Teenage Tycoon meeting, and she sat me and my brothers down on the couch, projected it up to the TV, and I was so mad. I sat like all the way on the edge of the couch off screen. So I couldn't be seen on the Teenage Tycoon meeting. And it's, for a while I was really upset. I didn't really like going to the meetings. I didn't really listen. I didn't gain that value. But there was one meeting, I think it was with Allison Prince, and she was talking about making money out of nothing, kind of, and she was talking about taking dead palm leaves and selling them on eBay for a bunch of money, and I thought that was crazy. And there was something about that lesson, and everything just started to click all of a sudden. And I was just like, boom, light bulb moments. And I just started loving Teenage Tycoon. I started listening, I started implementing, just doing what everybody said. And it all just kind of took off from there.
I love your honesty, Trinity. Sometimes as parents and the adults, we force our kids to do things that they don't love, like eat broccoli, but we know it's good for them. So if at some point they like, oh, broccoli's good, like it's a win, and you totally embraced it at some point, and saw the value of that in your own life. I love that.
I'm so grateful to my mom for doing that.
Does she know? Have you told her that?
Yes.
Okay. You're awesome. How about your siblings? Are they still involved? Did they embrace it as much as you did?
Yeah, so I have 3 siblings, one older brother, 2 younger brothers. And my parents, when we first started, my grandfather, he sponsored us in the Teenage Tycoon program. And my parents had never even heard of 7-figure flipping. And so we just joined Teenage Tycoon. And my parents, they ended up loving it and have wanted to join Runway ever since. Just recently, they were able to do that, and that's been really awesome for them.
That's amazing.
And my little brothers, they've been helping my parents. My parents have been actually flipping houses for about 3 years now, and they've been kind of going along to their houses and helping them with that now. Especially my youngest brother, he's been just following my dad around, shadowing. And then my other younger brother, he is working with my grandma, doing some CRM managing for her and finding leads. And then he'll help on his off days with my parents. And so that's been really awesome. And they attend every single meeting as well. And I know that it's been great. And for this next Teenage Tycoon meeting, our Teen Wealth Workshop, my younger brother, Troy, he's also going to be giving a presentation there about stocks and bonds. And that's just crazy.
Trinity, just the way you said that, you're like, what the heck is my brother? That's so awesome that he's growing, and you're like, who is this kid? That's awesome. Can we pause for a minute? Because you just let the cat out of the bag a little bit, totally fine, about the Teen Wealth Workshop. So as our listeners are listening to this and they're like, oh, I've got kids, I wonder how I could get them involved, or I wonder what that would look like. Let's just talk about that a little bit. What the heck is the Teen Wealth Workshop? And, Caitlin, do you kind of want to start with that and what it is and when it is and the point of it?
Yeah, I would love to talk about Teen Wealth Workshop. So I kind of had mentioned in 2023 that we held a 2-day Kids Wealth Workshop. Since then, it's morphed into the Teen Wealth Workshop. It's still a 2-day live event in person. And the coolest thing is, not only do we invite the members of Teenage Tycoon to come and be involved in that, but we also invite the public. So this is open to anyone who is interested in coming. So we have our next Teen Wealth Workshop June 19th and 20th in Spring Hill, Tennessee. And I will tell you, my focus the last 6 weeks has been so much on Teen Wealth Workshop and planning out the programming and the content. So really, I would say the purpose of Teen Wealth Workshop is the same as the purpose of Teenage Tycoon.
Yeah.
We want to empower teens to take control of their future now. And yes, financial future, but also just future in general. We really want to teach them about, I think of 5 areas that we really talk about in this program, or really grow in this program: financial literacy, abundance mindset, entrepreneurship, leadership, and investing. So like anything that falls in those categories, like we're helping kids progress in that way. So when they come to Teen Wealth Workshop, they are going to get to interact with adults and other preteens and teens that have similar goals, similar mindsets as them, and help push and inspire them to keep moving forward. They're going to be able to form relationships with these people and really belong to this community. And then beyond that, they get to hear from not only adults, but also other teens who have made progress in their life and learned from them. And we do this really fun thing called the game that simulates financial decisions over a span of 16 years. So we tell the group that your goal is to get the highest net worth you can over this 16 years. And they're making decisions about how much they're going to spend on their living expenses, if they're going to buy things like a cruise or fancy shoes, or are they going to buy some stocks or an apartment building? Like they have choices each of these 16 years to buy liabilities, to buy assets, and then they get to see the outcome of their financial decisions at the end. And it's really powerful for them to actually be making those decisions.
Yeah, so we went to the same event that was held in January. My husband and I took our 4 kids, and that was our first real involvement with the Teenage Tycoons. I think my kids maybe have attended a few of the virtual meetings that had happened during the week. But as a parent, an old school, I feel like my kids tell me all the time how old I am. And I'm okay with that. Part of my oldness is that I really value in-person relationships. And what I see with my kids and their generation is they really value virtual relationships, really, relationships through social media and through all these other medias. And I think there's a balance that I want them to understand. And so for the fact that there's these in-person events, what I noticed is then my kids were like, oh, there's the face and the personality to go with the person that they saw on Zoom or they've been messaging with. And it just really deepened their relationship and their commitment to the program and to their own learning as a result by having these in-person 2-day events. And I think without them, I just don't know that the material and the trust built in these relationships would have as much teeth. And so I really, really value these 2-day in-person events. And I am doing everything I can to try to figure out how we can go to this next one in the midst of chaos of life. Trinity, I would love to hear, what is your experience in going to these live events where you get to play these games and get to see people and be like, oh my gosh, he's shorter in person than I thought.
You're not talking about Bill Allen, are you, Dr. Sherry?
Okay, I wasn't until you just said that. But, the shoe fits. Bill, we love you.
Yeah, so I also love these in-person events. The first one I attended was June of last year, and we were at this hotel, and I was so nervous. I just was thinking about meeting everyone on the way up there, and I was in knots, and I walked up to someone and I just looked at them like, you're real, you're standing right in front of me. It was really weird. I didn't know how to act. But I loved it. And at that time I was trying to get a job at 7-Figure. And so I was doing this presentation speech, audition, whatever you want to call it, to try and get a job at 7-Figure. And so I had to give a speech on stage, and it went over so well. I was really happy with it, and it was really cool. I got a standing ovation, and that had never happened before. And so that really boosted my confidence. And so since then, I've been working at 7-Figure, and I'm helping Caitlin run the book clubs now. And I attend most of the mentoring sessions. I wouldn't say all. And so now we're having this next one come up, and I'm giving another presentation, and we have like these teen leaders to like help around as well. And so that's really awesome. And my little brother, like I said, he's giving a presentation, and it's really just growing. And I see like it just growing little by little every year. And like it's so awesome to see the impact that it has on my life and my brother's lives and all these other kids' lives. It's truly a great group.
That's amazing. Trinity, I want you to just take a minute and think about what would your life look like if you had never joined Teenage Tycoons?
Oh my
And
gosh.
what do you think your just everyday life, what would be different?
So much. I was thinking about that earlier because like I'm making my presentation, and so like that's a part of my key conversation. But like I really don't even want to think about that because so when I joined Teenage Tycoon, I just gone through a back injury, and so being said, I wasn't in the best state of mind, and I was pretty upset and down, and I was having a really hard time recovering. So I wasn't doing school. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a social life. I wasn't going or doing anything. I was like a couch potato. And then Teenage Tycoon stepped in, and of course, my mom kind of had to push me into it. Um, but without that, I don't know how long it would have taken me to recover. And I definitely know that I wouldn't be here, like thinking about investing, trying to like build a rental portfolio. My goal is to retire by 30, and that wouldn't have even been fathomable if I didn't join a Teenage Tycoon. And I'm seeing all these other investors, and like there was this podcast episode not too long ago about this couple that did retire at 30. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want to do. And I just know I'm in the right place now. So I don't know how my life would be different. And it's just so much better this way.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Trinity. And I just want to highlight that Teenage Tycoons isn't just about the nuts and bolts of investing. Caitlin, you had mentioned that there's kind of these 5 pillars that I think you're very intentional about bringing into the program. And as a parent, one of the things I think that I have struggled with my kids is the mindset piece. My background, I'm a psychologist and a high performance coach, and mindset is everything to me. And what I've realized is that I've spent so much time on my mindset that I think I've neglected my kids' mindset. And so sometimes they'll say things and do things, and I'm like, whose kid are you? Like, what? You know, and so some of the books that are chosen every month, there's a new book, the kids get to read it or they get to listen to audiobook, whatever is their flavor of consuming content. But it's been things like Win the Day, which honestly I'm still reading because I had never read that and I absolutely love it. Another one that I see that has been impactful, at least for my son, is The Gap and the Gain, which I had read snippets of it. I even taught from the book, even though I had never actually read the whole book. But I absolutely love the focus on we all make mistakes. We just keep on moving forward. Let's have goals. Let's be vulnerable and have humility. Life isn't perfect, because I think it's a real antidote for the Instagram lifestyle that people see, where everybody's showing the best and the fanciest, and very few people are showing real life. And the mindset piece has been the most important to me.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And back when we first started Teenage Tycoon, it was like pushing abundance mindset was not on the list of things we were doing. But what I noticed as we continued through the program and we were reading a book every single month is that was a huge gain we were getting. It was just like a side effect of us trying to get more financial literacy and start building wealth and being aware of that. Is that as we studied these books and discussed them and read them, I noticed everyone's mindset kind of shifting. And it's really helpful too. And we would read one book and we would learn all of these principles from the book. And then we'd read a next book and we'd see principles repeated. And then the next one, and we see principles repeated. And so now you have people like Trinity, who have probably read by this point something like 18 books with Teenage Tycoon. And in those 18 books, we've just been hit with these same principles over and over and over from different authors, from different viewpoints, with different wording, but we're all seeing our minds shift as we read these books. And not only are we just reading them and being like, oh, like surface level learning these different principles, but because we're meeting every single week to discuss them with each other and come up with discussion questions, which, by the way, I used to be the one who came up with all the discussion questions. And now it's Trinity and the other members of Teenage Tycoon that come up with the discussion questions. They're really spending time with the content and experimenting on it, experimenting with what they're learning from it. So they're not only like knowing it in their head, but they're starting to know it in their heart too.
Yeah, I love that. I think it would be helpful to just briefly, what is a week in the life of a Teen Tycoon member look like?
Yeah. That's a great question. So every single week, the entire group is invited to a 1-hour Zoom call, which is a mentoring session. And that mentoring session, it varies in topics. We talk about a lot of things. Last night, we met and I took the kids, I shared my screen and I took them through how I analyze a real estate property that I'm interested in flipping. And we did it real time. And then they also brought addresses and said, okay, what about this one? And so real time, I'd never seen these properties before. We'd pull them up and say like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm thinking as I'm looking at this property. This is what I want to try to find out. This is the obstacle we're hitting. This is how we're going to work around it. So they get an hour of interactive time with the mentor, whether it's me, whether it's Bill, whether it's a guest. We have really cool guest mentors. Anyone from like the author of the book we just read to a millionaire, a successful entrepreneur from somewhere across the nation. So once a week, we get to learn from a mentor. Sometimes we even have teenage mentors as well. And then once a week, we have a 1-hour Zoom meeting, which is a book club discussion. And we actually have multiple groups. Right now we have 2 kind of split with age divisions. So you can come to which one fits your age. And we discuss the book for an hour. And there's always a facilitator on the call, like myself, or we have Marisol Mendez. But like on the Wednesday night book calls, like Trinity runs it and I'm there to support her as needed. But it's getting to the point where it's teen led more than adult led. So I love that. So 2 hours of Zoom meetings total a week, 1 mentoring session, 1 book club session. And then on your own, you're reading the book, whatever the reading assignment is for that week. You're participating in the online courses. Right now, we fully have released a financial literacy course. The Start a Business course is partly released. And then we have a real estate course that will be created specifically for teenagers. Right now, they get the adult version until we get the teenage version set out. But so they can be educating themselves with these online courses we have, and then really implementing what they're learning. And we have a private message platform as well where they can ask questions like real time. If they come across a question like, I wanted to buy this stock today, but I don't know how to buy a stock. How do I do it? I can video record, like screen share and be like, this is where you can go. And these are the buttons you can push. So just really supporting any teenager or preteen in whatever it is that they're trying to pursue.
I love that. I have gotten questions like, Mom, why don't I have a 401k yet? And I've had questions of how do I find leads? And I will sometimes I will get inundated with getting Zillow links to my text message of all these properties, and then I'm looking at them because we flip, and I'm like, these aren't deals. I'm telling myself, but that's part of the process. They have to get excited about doing something, and then it's learning how to start to differentiate what's a deal, or reach out to the agents. I've had my son calling and texting agents, and it's so funny because he's like, "Mom, they don't respond." And I'm like, I know there's so many realtors out there that never respond to voice messages or texts. It's just funny because that's our world. That's like, we know so many agents aren't really good, but it's so cool to see them experiment, and it's just, and knowing that there's another community where they can take that back to, and they can ask questions, and they can grow and learn and flourish is just, it's priceless. Honestly, it's priceless. But speaking of price, it's like, to me, it's a no-brainer. It is absolutely a no-brainer. I have spent lots of money. I don't even want to, lots of money on our own, like my husband and my own development, whether it's being in, masterminds or coaching and all of these different things, even health coaching. We're plugged into some of that stuff right now because, as my kids say, we're getting old. We got things we got to deal with. And when I heard the price and the investment for Teen Tycoons, I'm like, there's no way. Like, that's a no-brainer to me. Caitlin, do you want to share a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, you want the price for Teenage Tycoon or for the Teen Wealth Workshop?
Well, I think understanding that there's a difference is great. So maybe speak to both. Maybe speak to, hey, if you've got kids, grandkids that you would love to see dip their toe into this sort of thing, invite them, send them to the Teen Wealth Workshop, because there's no commitment in that. It's just a 2-day event of awesomeness, learning, growth, and then maybe at that point, there's a desire to take it further and to keep on with that. So maybe start with what does that look like just for the workshop? And then if they want to continue that, what does that look like?
Yeah, that's awesome. So for our 2-day in-person workshop that's happening June 19th and 20th, the price is $350 for one adult and one child. And then you can add on additional adults and additional children. So $100 for additional children, $50 for additional adults. And if you're an adult out there and you're like, I don't want to just like sit in the back of the room while the kids do things, we have adult breakouts specifically for the adults as well. So we have age group breakouts, including adults. So $350 for the first adult and child, $100 for additional children, $50 for additional adults. Lunch is included both days. We have evening activities included both days, plus the actual workshop itself. So worth the money, so worth it.
It is. Then, can I just give a price reality for a minute? So
yeah.
So $350 for two people, right? For 2 days. That's what, $175 per day, or per person for the 2 days, which is like, I'm so bad at quick math. What's that, like 80 something per day per person, plus a meal. So take 80 minus, like, let's call it $25 for the food that you don't then have to pay for. So we're now down to like $55. So $55 for an entire day of learning, of networking, of being around other people, both as a parent and as the kid. See, this is why it's a no-brainer. Like, I know people that spend $1,000 for an event, a personal development event or an investment seminar or whatever. This is like $55 for a day of just like, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So I just wanted to break that down, in kind of, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you add on more kids, they're even less, right?
Right.
Closer to 25 after you take out the food.
Yes.
And you get evening entertainment as well. So yes, it is a no-brainer. And so for to join the Teenage Tycoon community. I cannot believe that Bill Allen offers this. One time, lifetime membership. Like, this isn't even annual. One-time lifetime membership. So if you have 6 kids, they all get to be in until they age out at the age of 19. Our public pricing is $10,000 for a lifetime family membership. That's not like per individual, family membership. And then I don't know if I can share this or not, but I know Bill at it is going to offer a discount for people. So hopefully I don't get in trouble for sharing that. But there will be a discount coming for those who choose to come to Teen Wealth Workshop. And like, really, lifetime membership for the entire family. It's amazing.
Yeah. So let me break that one down for a minute. So $10,000. I have 4 kids, right? So that's $2,500 each. And so let's say 4 years for them. That's like $600-ish a year for them. And if I think about like the amount of money I spend on their gym membership and their karate lessons and all of that sort of stuff, which one is likely going to set them up for success more? I mean, yes, I'm all about health and all of that sort of thing. But if I put that much money into cheerleading uniforms and soccer stuff, why wouldn't I also make sure that I'm putting time and money and energy into their mental growth? That I don't know about you, but my kids do not learn abundance mindset at school. And so how am I going to counteract the kind of cultural things they're learning, which is not typically about entrepreneurship? It's about limited thinking. It's about, just trying to scrap to the top however way you can. It doesn't really matter. Like, there's just so many values that I don't espouse that my kids get exposed to. So I believe as a parent, my job is to counteract that. I need to proactively find ways to counteract that impact that they're getting from peers and from other areas in their life. So $600 a year for something like this that has so much value, and listen to Trinity's story. This has completely changed the course of and trajectory of her entire life and her family. You can't put a price on that. But $600 is the price, and that's ridiculously cheap. I say 600 because I'm just doing the math with my family, but you got to do the math with yours.
You're assuming your kids are in the program for 4 years, right? But we designed the program for 12 to 18-year-olds, so they could be in there 6 years, or if they stay until they turn 19, 7 years. But we also allow younger kids at their parents' discretion. We have some as young as 9. We have some really successful 9, 10, 11-year-olds in the group. So this could be a lot longer than 4 years for people as well. And I don't know about you, but I noticed when I was a preteen and teenager, I think it's pretty normal for all of us we don't want to listen to what our parents say. That's normal as a preteen and teenager. We start putting higher value on outside influences and outside learning. Like, our parents don't know what they're talking about, right? Yeah. So just think, like, even if you as a parent are in a position where you have all this training, you have all this experience, you're like, I could teach them. Do they really want to listen to you?
No, that's an obvious answer. No, they don't.
No, they don't. But can you imagine if you put them in a room with other teenagers and other adults who are teaching them what you wish they would learn? Like, I have 2 children, a 9 and a 12-year-old. And I'm like, guys, I'm running this group. Like, why don't you come? They don't want to come because I'm their mom. But when Marisol's on book club and she's like, where's your daughter? Why isn't she here today? And my daughter hears her, she comes on over and joins the meeting. Like, when you have someone other than your mom or your dad telling you these things, you're willing to listen more when you're a preteen and a teenager. So that's powerful.
It is powerful. And as the parent, I have to bite my tongue a lot because I'll hear them say things and I have to bite my tongue of like, I already told you that. Or like, what? And I just put a smile on my face and I'm like, that is awesome. You're learning some really cool stuff. And I just encourage them.
Yes.
All right. Well, I appreciate Caitlin and Trinity, both of you coming on here to share your experience. So incredibly powerful and so underutilized. As I said earlier, there's so much potential in this. And a lot of that potential is just really getting the word out so that more teenagers, more kids can take advantage of this kind of program that has such incredible impact, life impact. Trinity, you are going to be there next week. So if you're listening to this, we're going to get this out ASAP so that you can hear this in time and still sign up. But if you end up hearing this podcast after June 19th and 20th, know that there's another one coming. Is it twice a year? Is that what the cadence is, Caitlin?
We do it every June. So our next Teen Wealth Workshop, I actually have the dates already. It will be 2026, June 18th and 19th in 2026.
Okay.
So yeah, we're typically third week in June.
Perfect. So if you're hearing this after the 2025, don't worry. Two things can happen. One, you can still join Teenage Tycoon. You don't have to wait for an in-person event for that to happen. And secondly, you can register for that. Get it going. However that you can make that fit into your schedule. It is in Tennessee. It's beautiful. Make it a longer trip. Visit some cool Gatlinburg or any of those cool places around there. And Caitlin, how can they get a hold of you to get signed up?
Yeah, so feel free to email me at Caitlin@sevenfigureflipping.com. I'm sure we'll put that down in the show notes, KAITLYN at sevenfigureflipping.com. You can also visit our website at teenagetycoon.com as well to find out more. Yeah, and don't wait. Come join us. If you have kids yourself that you think would fit really good, awesome. If you're like, I don't have kids, I'm sure there's kids in your life that are near and dear to your heart. You can share this with them. You can also sponsor another family. I mean, Trinity mentioned that her grandfather sponsored them when they started in. So if you're like, I really want to sponsor my neighbor that I love their family and their kids are like my own kids, if you have some situation like that, feel free to introduce them to the program or even sponsor them if you so feel that that's something that you want to do.
That's really a great idea to kind of expand beyond just your immediate household. And Trinity, if there are some folks listening to this, some investors listening to this, and they think that maybe their grandchildren, kid that they're thinking about might have questions that they would rather ask directly to another teenager, a member, rather than asking us old adults that, sometimes are irrelevant in their mind. Can they get a hold of you so that they can ask questions directly of your experience?
Absolutely. So my email is trinity@sevenfigureflipping.com, and that's TRINITY. And if you're hesitant or you have questions, I would say just getting involved and making the first step is the most important part, because once you're in here, you're just going to see all the value. Just get in here, get your foot in the door, and then just go from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me for this 7-Figure Flipping podcast. I think what you guys are doing, what you guys are spearheading and growing is so needed in the American culture. And I can't imagine anybody better at putting this all together and being the face of, that people can connect with it than the two of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And until next time, until the next 7-Figure Flipping podcast, have an amazing week.